that everything that exists outside of space and time, that is not Allah, exists as some form of light in an absolute state. So soul seems to be light in an absolute state. Now, when Allah created the angels, He created them to do what He wanted perfectly without any free will. For some reason or other, He wanted to have another level of existence, who He still wanted that other level of existence, which is us in material form, to carry out His will, but He did not want to make us do it. He did not want to create us so we would perfectly do it. He wanted to create us so we had within us a characteristic that would allow us to choose whether or not to do it. So, electron has, we have here about probability. Probability in the spirit world or beyond space and time, probability is one of two things. It can equal one of two things. Probability can equal 0, or probability can equal +1, meaning a quality either does not exist at all, not the tiniest bit, or exists perfectly manifested. When we get into the physical world, probability exists in the material world on a continuum here. Probability, which is less than 0, that it won't be done, and not quite ever probability 1 that it will be done. And we start with the electron, and an electron has a quality called quantum uncertainty, which essentially means that an electron is a relative thing. It is not fixed in time and space. Its qualities are to be, in other words, you cannot say exactly where an electron is and how fast it is going. Because of the nature of physical existence, it's just not, we don't have the theories or the mechanisms to do it. The nature of being a physical thing says that you cannot know both the speed and the position of an electron at the same time. That they are both relative things. And we express this as quantum uncertainty at the level of the electron. Now, I don't know what levels we go to, but I'll use a term here called degrees of freedom. An electron, as I pointed out, has a very limited range of what it can do. But within that range, it has some degree of uncertainty. So it has not going to absolutely fulfill the will of Allah to the degree an angel will. It is less than certain that it will do what it is supposed to do than an angel. You get to an atom, and an atom has greater degrees of freedom. So an atom can do a lot more than an electron. A molecule can do a lot more than an atom. Biological life form can do a lot more than a molecule. And a biological life form, as it gets up to its higher stages, like the highest stages of biological life, which is a chimpanzee, can, well, on the continuum, if this is the continuum, this is called a dichotomously variable continuum, meaning it's a continuum with two opposing sides. And we'll say this is the continuum of free will. That somewhere way down here, we have the electron. These aren't real places, these are just representative places. That all of these forms of matter, from the subatomic particle up to biological life, they are essentially determined in what they are going to do by Allah. Allah tells them what to do, and they do it to quite a good degree. All of them having some degree of free will, and as I mentioned, when a characteristic, when the photons of light become a subatomic particle, it imbues into that light a certain character, into that particle a certain potential to be expressed. So the expression of the potential of free will, which seems to be one of the things that light puts into the subatomic particle, is at a very tiny form. And so as Allah progresses the universe and sends directions through light for the subatomic particles to organize into more and more complex groupings, Allah gets to the point where, when he gets to Adam, Adam has more free will than the deterministic aspect. All of the levels from the subatomic particle to biological life, the deterministic aspect is greater than the free will aspect. When he gets to Adam, Adam has a greater degree of free will than the deterministic aspect, which is why none of these forms could ever accept to be Khalifa of Allah, because they are essentially determined. Although they are not fully determined, because they are relative, not like the angels who have probability 0 or 1. They have some probability, but their probability is less than half until you get to Adam, that they could ever go against the will of Allah, no matter how high a level of biological life they lead. They will always basically go along with what Allah wants. So you would say Allah is still directing the activity of all of these levels until he gets to Adam. And once he gets to Adam, he says, okay, now I have spent billions of years and I have created this physical existence made of millions of different levels of physical form. I have directed every one of them to get to a certain point. And that certain point is to be the point where I can assign you the role as my Khalifa. And as his Khalifa, Allah is saying to us now, I have breathed my spirit into you. I want you to go ahead and continue to carry out my will in the physical existence. I don't want you to carry out your will, I want you to carry out my will. And I will give you the power to do it. I have breathed into you, or won't give you, I have breathed into you the power to do it. So you have no power of your own. You will be utilizing my power. I will actually make the thing that you decide happen. But it is your responsibility to use your free will, which went through these various stages of progression until it could be expressed more free will than the deterministic aspect. And this is why when we look at the personality theory, so for an animal, this is all there is. And so the environment consists of these two